Hey y'all, this here is the Christian Trucker, and I wanted to give y'all a little update with Advanced Trucking. Today is 1 week since I started with them. I am sitting in Illinois. I actually went back through Indianapolis today, so I kind of made like a big old full circle. Well, let me try to do a parable of sorts. When I was looking at the change and everything, I had all these big ideas. So, picture a kid who's been trying to catch this huge catfish in his pond. He's been trying for months, okay? Well, he finally hooks him. He hooks him, man, and he's bringing him into the bank. I mean, this catfish is so big, he breaches the water. He comes out of the water, he's shaking his head like a bass. And he comes up, and he comes back in the water, and he comes straight for the bank. And the kid sees him coming, and he turns his rod and gets ready for that catfish to turn. Well, he snags him, finally wears this old catfish out, grabs him and pulls him up on the bank. As soon as he grabs a hold to him and pulls him up on the bank, that big old catfish takes his tail and starts slapping him in the face. And the kid's like, he took him back. He was not expecting that, you know. He was totally not expecting that. But he didn't let go. He didn't let go. He kept holding on to that big old catfish because it was his dream. He's holding on tight, but it's slapping him in the face. But eventually the fish gets tired of slapping him in the face, and he starts gaining control of the fish. That is a parable of how my week has been. Each day I grow a little bit more comfortable working the spot market, calling the brokers. But when I started, I started in Indy, and the loads, I mean, as soon as they would come up, they would be gone. Me being totally new, I wasn't fast enough, and when I would call, I didn't have all my right information together, and it was just kind of like one thing after another. But luckily, Daniel, he came and he helped me out that evening. He was coming through with a load that he had done delivered, and anyway, he got me rolling with a load of water for Circle 8 Logistics. And I Circle 8, I have no issues with them. I think they did pretty good. The next load I got, I've scheduled myself. It was with Coyote. I got that load, and I got it picked up and ran down right past my house. And then I got a load from C.H. Robinson, which I delivered this morning. So my first week out on the spot market, I'm grossing $42.50. And that's with Tuesday kind of being a little iffy. Because Monday I got there, we did an orientation, I got my trailer, I got my stickers on my truck, I got all that done on Monday. I actually looked for some loads on Monday night, but I couldn't make them work. So I got up Tuesday morning expecting to get a load pretty quick and get going, you know. I was all going to get it happening, but no, that ain't the way it worked. The market up there was kind of slim, and the brokers were not giving on nothing. And, you know, I wasn't going to take a cheap rate just to get moving. And, well, it was a slap in the face. This is how it works. This is what you got to deal with. And I was starting to second guess myself a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. Who wouldn't? You're getting up there, and I mean, everything at this company is different than what I've done in the past. Okay, the fuel stops, I've always went to the Pilot, Flying J for the last 2 or 3 companies. And then our log, we use Big Road over here at Advanced. I've never used it. The only thing I've ever used was PeopleNet and Qualcomm. So learning the new log, learning the new fuel stops, and let's just say there's less fuel stops than there was with the EFS card. Especially in Mississippi. I think there's only like 3 places in the entire state of Mississippi that takes our NASTIC card. But that's alright. I can work around that. It's all about trip planning, and I like to think of myself as a pretty good trip planner. So all that's fine and good, but then whenever you start looking at all the different load boards and trying to call the brokers and set up loads, whew, let me tell you, when you call them and you're thinking you could get around 15 and they say, oh, that right there goes for $8.25, that's a long way to go. And especially if you're kind of like me and you trying to push yourself into certain areas where you can go by the house or be at least close to the area, you know, even if it makes you deadhead to the house. So I've got a long way to go, a lot to learn about this entire system. But C.H. Robinson, they did me pretty fair on a run. Coyote did me pretty fair. The only thing was we may or we may not get some detention. Like I say, Circle 8, I pulled that one. It was a fairly short one, but it paid well. Right now, I'm on an Uber load. Uber is a great backup. And I'm thinking that until I get used to working with the brokers and calling them and I build some relationships, I'm going to try to keep my truck in areas where Uber has a lot of freight, because they're going to be my backup plan. If I'm striking out with brokers, all I got to do is look on the Uber board, and it might be a little deadhead, but I click a button and I can go with something. I don't have to sit there and twiddle my thumbs, because out here, when you lose a day's revenue, you're in a bad shape, because it can tally up on you really quick. And that's kind of my thinking at the moment. Like, I really don't have a relationship with any broker yet. It just kind of is what it is. It's a learning process. I mean, it's not... Snyder made things so easy, so idiot-proof. You can't hardly not make revenue, because everything is just point and click. You don't even have to call in unless you have a problem. But out here, you do a lot of calling. You look at the boards, you watch the freight come up, you know, and a lot of them go home early. I think one of our reps at one of our load boards comes in like 6:30 our time, my time, I mean, and then leaves out at like 2:30 my time. I'm like, oh, because I tried to call him the other day at 2:30 and he was already going home. So when you learn these things, it makes things a little bit easier, because I really wasn't sure what time the loads started coming out or what time I could start calling on them and really get some results. But I'm kind of like an early bird. I like to be up early or staying up all night. And the first couple of loads, I ran all night. The Coyote load, I ran that one all night, and that was a pretty good run. But I did go by and do some repairs. Well, not repairs. I did some preventive maintenance on my truck, and I had to get an inspection on my truck. So that's $213. All my loads have been heavy. This one that I have right now for Uber is my lightest one. It's 33,600 pounds of product. That's the lightest one I've hauled since I've been with Advance. One of them was 44,000, one was 42,000, and one was 43,600. So every one of them's had to scale. I even scaled this one, which I was good on it, but better safe than sorry when you're taking them for so far. My fuel, I've driven like 1,800 miles and grossed 4,250, which is good, because it is driving less miles and making more revenue. But the revenue at Snyder that I always shared was always the revenue after Snyder took their cut. Okay? So they already had took and removed their cut from the numbers that I was putting up. The numbers that you will see now are before Advance's cut. So this is 4250 before they take theirs. And you know, I will do a numbers video down the road. I still got to figure out how I'm going to keep up with all my paperwork, how I'm going to keep up with all my different loads, my shippers, and how I'm going to keep up with my numbers. Like I say, we've removed the Qualcomm and the Qualcomm brackets. So that put me having to move the big roads. I got it on a tablet and trying to set it up in here with my phones. And I do want to get me a GPS because I was kind of spoilt to the Qualcomm. I do miss having that assurity that I was on a truck route. Right this minute, all I have is Google Maps and my intellect. If it looks too small for a truck, I'm going to research it and make sure it's okay. But when I get a little money built up, there's a few things I want to buy, and I'll do little videos about those going on. But Snorlord told me that his Garmin is what he uses, and he loves his Garmin, so I'll probably end up getting a Garmin thanks to him. So if it ain't no good, I'll blame him. But that's my update up to the minute. Everything's going good. I'm learning every day. Don't come out here and think it's going to be a breeze. God bless. We'll catch you on the next ride.